Good morning, welcome to Rock Painting Workshops. Today we are going to create this little Smirky girl, and she's just like facing up to the sunshine and she's just full of happiness. That's how I see her. And so let's start colouring her in, and I'm going to use the Posca Red to colour her in, and just a really nice, lovely, quick design to make a kindness rock. And this little girl, she's just so full of happiness and joy, and just enjoying that sun that's beaming down on her face. So we're just getting a nice, thin, even layer of colour onto our rock. And even though the red, I'll like to come back with a second layer in a minute. I'm just letting that first layer nice and thin, let it soak into the rock so it forms a relationship with the rock. Not going too thick. That's the trick of using the paint pens, is we can come back and get a better colour coverage by letting this dry and coming back in a minute and doing a second coat. So this is the beige in Posca that I'm using for her skin colour, and there's lots of different colours you can choose from, but I like using the beige as the base. Okay. And you know, I actually quite like the colour that's in here, so I'm not going to keep thickening it up with more. If you didn't like your coverage, you could do another thin layer at this point and then do the shading. But with the skin colour on her, I've just taken the brown and used that to sort of shade up in the top of her face a little bit and create some shadow. And that's her hair and bow, bow that are causing some shadow to throw down on the top of her face. But here, just adding in just little random bits of colour. I've just got a wet paintbrush and I'm dipping that onto my pen, and I'm just sort of smushing that, balancing it out, giving it a little bit to the right as well as the left. Just grabbing a photo for Facebook crew. Okay, and now I'm taking the new red by Posca, and I'm going to use that as my shading colour. So I've wet the paintbrush in water and sort of dried off any excess water, and I'm just tapping onto the pen, picking up some of that red colour and adding it in for depth. Okay, so let's go, where do we go now? That's a really nice little quick one to do this one. You can see the background is quite watery, and that's because I left a little bit more water on the brush than I usually do. So just create her cheeks with some coral, and you can see I tap my finger down on that just so it's not like a round circle, you know, really solid shape. I just gave it that nice little sort of blend of rosy cheeks there. Okay, and just to finish her off, grab your little fine line pens and we can start just adding the outline shapes. And you can see I'm holding the rock up, I'm leaning it up on Bert. For those that haven't met Bert before, is my pet painting rock. And I'm also using Bert to lean my hand on. So that pinky side of the hand is leaning on Bert so that my hand is raised up higher. Okay, it's quite hard to draw the outlines on a rock when your hand is leaning on your desk at the same, and so's the rock. So the rock is going to be higher than your hand. So to raise your hand up a little bit is going to make it a lot easier to use the paint pens. So you can try that little trick. So that's another thing that Bert comes in handy a lot, and that's just to raise my hand up to give me that height difference over the rock that I'm painting. I'm just going around on the bow, adding some of the black into the gathered areas. Can't even get English words out today. Putting in that cute little face. Okay, all I'm going to do is add a little bit of white pen for some highlights, and she's done. Nice and simple. So cute. Yeah, and super easy to do. Just little bit of light shining down on her face, and you can have a look when she's finished. So come over to Reef Rocks Free Workshops on Facebook and show us your little Smirky girls.